Tell me when we're live.
We are live. Hello, everyone. I am Cindy with Cindy Rowe Marketing, and I have a special guest for everyone. This is sure to be a fun show. Hi, Butch. How are you?
Hi, Cindy.
Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's a super busy time of year for you, and I appreciate the 30 minutes you're going to give to me and the viewers. So, thinking back on when we first met, I think it was through the Belvedere Chamber. I mean, I knew of you, but I did a presentation for the Belvedere Chamber, and you walked up to me and said, "Welcome." And you handed me one of these. Look at everybody I remembered.
Yep.
But I think that was really the first time that we met face to face, and that's kind of where our business relationship started. So, can you tell the viewers, if they don't already know, who you are and what business you have?
Well, I'm Butch Risky. I'm owner of Mr. Goodwater in Belvedere on Appleton Road. We do water treatment for homes, commercial, industrial, some hospitals. So we have a pretty wide range of water improvement products and services that we provide. So if you want your water to taste better, smell better, or feel better, call Mr. Goodwater.
Awesome. How long have you been in business?
17 years, 3 or 4 months.
Sweet. So, were you the original owner? Is this something that you started from scratch, or has this been in the family?
Well, I've been in the water industry for 31 years.
Wow.
It's a startup, so I'm the OG, the original Goodwater. So, but the guys at work call me the old guy. But yeah, it's OG regardless.
I love that. So I know we were talking a little bit yesterday about the fact that you have some of your children or your children working with you.
Mhm.
Can you tell everybody what that is like to really be a family-run business?
It's a lot of fun. So it could be challenging at times, without a doubt. There's a hierarchy in how things are done and how we work and the process. And my kids are held at a very high standard. It is not the atypical entitled process. My wife and I are both are disciplinarians in our family, so our kids have a natural part of that. So they're hard workers, they're intelligent, both college educated. So it's a for me where I'm at in my life today. It's a lot of fun. It's been challenging to get us here, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So my father had his own business as well, and my brother worked for him. And he always joked like I should come work for him, and there was no way. So he owned a John Deere dealership, and I'm like, what farmer is going to listen to a blonde chick about a combine? I don't even know what it does. So at that time in
It could
college.
be a problem.
I had really zero interest in being part of the family business. How did you not convince, but how did your children decide to want to be part of that business?
Well, when my son was finally done with college, he asked if there's room for him. And I said, absolutely, there's going to always be room, but you have to start as a brand new individual. You're going to start on the routing systems and work your way up from there. And he's done a fantastic job. He has grown exponentially with the business. He has some really strong leadership skills and very organized. It's a pretty good progression with him. My daughter came in through the COVID process. She was in the industry for event planning, and that became not so relevant right away. So
Right.
then she came to work part time at Goodwater, and she excelled very quickly. She actually impressed me with her skill set. So her organization, her accuracy, her speed. So it's been really good to have her there.
That's awesome to hear. I appreciate that you hold them to higher standards, and that, it's not, just, oh, so your daughter and your son work here type of thing. It's no, they've earned their spot here, and they
Correct.
continue. And that would be how my father would have run if I was you just are held to such a higher level of, competency and oh, you work all the time because you work
I,
today.
I
Pretty much.
really appreciate their ability to be part of that process, because they have to be willing to be pushed that way or to be held that way. They could look at it. They could look at it a completely different way. But I think we're lucky. Partly I'm lucky with the kids, and B, in my wife's influence in raising kids, it's been a big part of it. So it's certainly it can be tough at times, but we've been really lucky with it.
Yeah. So over the 17 years you've been in business, what has been a major challenge that you've had to overcome to get you to the success that you've seen today?
Lots of challenges. The 2008 housing crash, finance crash that we had was really game changing for our industry. We had to change up how we uh, prospect and gained business. And through COVID, created some very unique dynamics, and we had to really change what we do. So I was a networker out on doing working for not-for-profits, volunteering and working for chambers. When COVID hit for us, it was all hands on deck, and it was a lot of, I had to go back to just straight working. I mean, it's working in the business and making sure that our employees were well taken care of. We have 12 families that we're feeding, and we also have a lot of customers that we want to take care of. So it created a few things created some problems, but I mean, we just went at it head on, and we turned it into a positive.
Yeah, I like just what you said. It was not 12 employees, but you had 12 families.
Yeah.
I think that takes an amazing individual to see it that way. And so I guess that brings me to a point like, where did you learn that kind of leadership skill?
Well, just natural progression. Always being the company man. I also coached basketball for many, many years. I was actually a head boys coach and a head girls coach at two different schools, and ran a bunch of travel clubs over the years. So it's just, I did a lot of that stuff early on when I was in my late mid to late 20s, and then up until 5-6 years ago is when I finally gave up coaching altogether. But I mean, that had a lot to do with it. They're very similar: running a business, coaching, raising a family. They all have the similar values.
Yeah. Do you, I guess there's definitely competition, and you being a local family run business. What kind of competitive advantage do you have, or do you believe that you have over the big guys?
Mm. Well, I mean, I've always been very giving of my time in the community. For Belvedere example, I volunteered for many years at the YMCA, the Belvedere Park. Moved to Byron, I volunteered with I volunteered for all my kids' sports. So I mean, very active with that part of the stuff. Anything that my wife needed, she's a teacher. I'd be very involved if she needed anything. So amongst many others. So that has a lot to do with it, right? So it does give us a competitive advantage. And then also the people we have at work are all recruited. There's no applicants coming to Goodwater. People have been recruited based on their values of family values. They've been recruited based on, what type of people they are before being a good worker or what they could produce, right? It was about who they are. So when you have a track record of that
Right.
really separates you. And it's who I want to work with, but it also turns into good business.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're able to retain your employees because of how you lead them?
Yeah, well, in fact, it's been recognized. I speak for the Rockford Chamber through their leadership program on workplace culture.
Ah,
So we use a lot of flex scheduling. We're family first process. People, we may have people miss more work than other companies, but it's family first. So last week we had one of our staff members off for volunteering for a field trip. It has nothing to do with Goodwater or anything like that. It has everything to do with that person's involved in their child's upbringing. We had one of our parents missed a number of days for track meets. They had a track that was going on. So I mean that to me is as important, and then that is a help for retaining also.
Yeah, I would say so. I had a boss that would keep track on like an attendance sheet, and at the end of the year, during my review, and I was project based because I was the vice president of marketing, and so it was pretty much project based. But he would know every day I missed for my children being sick, and for what reason. And I like that always blew my mind because I'm like, wow, when I'm here, I give 120%, or like I give it all. I'm a hard worker. I can work from home if you need me to, but when my kid is sick or whatever, I need to be there with them. And I would joke about it. I'm like, well, if I ever need to know my kid's health history, I guess I just need to look at your attendance sheet but that was where his priorities were. And the strange thing is he was a family man with 5 kids, but he just ran things differently. This was not, I would call it the old man's club, right? Like, so I've worked for that type of person, but man, working for somebody like you with those type of values, I can see would be very attractive to, like, recruiting people. Like you said, it makes it easier knowing that your family time is valued, and that comes from the top. So
well, we've been around for 17 years. We have a 13 and a half year veteran. We have a 10-year veteran. We have a 14-year veteran.
Wow.
There's some staying power. What we have is as far as being in business. We had a gentleman leave about a year ago that was with us for 14 years, moved on to another industry. So we have staying power with that. So that makes a huge benefit too, right? So give you an example through COVID. When we had COVID coming around, I'm like, okay, we have to take care of our families, which is the Goodwater family people. We have to take care of our families as our customers. So I worked as diligently as possible to stay as relevant in the space of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we can keep revenues coming in, so we can retain everybody. So that was the biggest. So 2 years ago, that was my only focus, is to make sure we're still retaining everybody that we had at that point. There's only been 2 turnovers of that in that process. So that's been super lucky.
Yeah, but it lends a hand to you and I think your leadership style and the way you've built your culture. So the fact that, the Rockford Chamber is using you to talk about that, I mean, you've done it, you've put those systems in place. And so I think, you're living and working it and breathing it, and therefore you can say that that is a success factor for you. What else can you say for, your successes over the years? Like, describe something to me or that, the viewers could walk away from and maybe think about putting, making that kind of change into their business.
Okay. So I have some younger entrepreneurs that I've worked with and done some mentoring at a kind of a small level. But one of the things I say is when you're learning to be an entrepreneur, you're learning to be a manager, or you're learning to be, a parent, a father, whatever. Take information that you learn and apply it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have the knowledge and don't
do nothing
use
with
it.
Yeah.
So, and that happens a lot. So give an example. We send out a lot of thank you letters, and all new customers get a thank you letter. If I said to any business owner, would you think it would be a good idea to send a thank you letter to new customers? Every single one say, absolutely. That we call that the minimum. Whatever you think of that should be normal, we call that's the minimum. So we take that information, we just apply it. So with certain things that we do, we're going to apply just the things that we're learning, and we stay with that.
Yeah, that's great. And handwritten notes are a thing of the past, I think. And so they mean a little bit more when you get something in the mail and it's like, wow, they took the time. They really do appreciate my business because I have options, right?
Yeah.
We all have options of where we can get water from and a good, service from. So I like that. I like that key point too. I listen to Gary Vee a lot and he drives that point home too. Don't just take what I'm telling you, like do something with it. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason that I'm telling you this stuff. And it's like drive that point home. Like learn from those people that have had the success and see what they're doing and see how you can put it into practice in your own business.
Yeah.
I do have to say, oh, go ahead.
A young entrepreneur I was with yesterday, I gave him a book, and I said, this book, and he's got a few employees, and I said, this book is going to, if you use it, it will help you navigate your business and make things more scalable, and you'll learn more from it. But if you don't apply what you learn from it, so I taught him how to read it. I go, don't read the book, read per chapter and write what you learn from it, and then start to apply something from that.
I love that advice because I read a lot of personal development books, a lot of industry books, and I do the same thing. I recap it after each chapter. I'll highlight it. I'll write down everything that I highlighted in a notebook. And yeah, so great advice. Will you tell everybody what book it is, or are you going to keep that a secret?
No, it's that particular book for what he's looking for. That one's Traction by Gino Wickman. Big fan of that book.
Yeah. Are there any other good books that you would recommend for small business entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I buy a lot of books to hand out, but one thing I don't do is give what I call my Bibles. So my Bibles, I keep them to myself as far as all the markings and the tabs and the highlighters and all that. I covet those because I use those as references. But there's one that Jeffrey Gitomer, big fan of him because he's a value-based guy first. Give value, don't ask, earn kind of guy. So I like his messaging overall. Says customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless. That's another one of the books. One of my top books that I have on my desktop at my office. And then the Extreme Ownership book is just an amazing book. It should be taught at the high school level and then again at the college level. So I like that book and what it represents. You're in charge of your own happiness. You're the one making the decisions, and it's the cause and effect is based on you. Yeah. And so those are some books that I really covet.
I love it. Well, I'll make sure I have not read those, so I will make sure to check those out for sure. I read a book every day. I read for 10 minutes every day, or 10 pages, I'm sorry, of a good book every day. I've been doing that for 7 years now, and I know it has impacted me greatly in my business, right? My confidence levels, my leadership style, all those things. I want to ask about, because, I'm a marketing person and I love the creativity that you have. Tell some of the viewers some of the fun things that you do that really do set you apart from just being the Mr. Goodwater guy, right? And I will say there's 2 things that I would love for you to touch on is your sign, and then the water videos, the water chat videos, the dad jokes type of thing. So kind of tell us how those all came about and what kind of impact have they really had?
So the very first, we have the changeable copy in front of our store, and there's 12 to 14,000 cars that drive by it every day. We're down the street from Chrysler. It's a very, well-traveled road, right? And the very first funny sign that was out there was Butch has gas, propane, X amount of dollars. And that was not my idea. We had people stopping, taking pictures of it, calling us. And everywhere I went in the community, hey, heard you had gas. And I'm like, okay, so people are reading it. So that happened to be memorable to them. So then we started going funny signs. What do we have? In the church down the street, there's police that run radar sometimes. I put on there, slow down, cop in church parking lot. It's just, I don't think Belvedere Police thinks that's funny, but I do. And so we come up with that. And then the video stuff, what you want to do is you want to do something that's memorable, something that is quirky. We've done the full blown passing the torch kind of thing with my son. We did a full blown video of that. We did a music video, a spoof on Hometown Road. Lucas did the lyrics for that. We used a local rapper studio over in Rockford, a Auburn student that we went over to his house and did the music to it. Jake Brandt from Rockford Buzz fused it all together. That was a great fun time. We have videos on there of the Frozen t-shirt day and different things that we do to keep things interesting and fun at Goodwater, right? So in today's society, in today's, instant information media, they want to know what you're doing. And so it's kind of comical. The laughter with Lucas, the dad jokes that you're talking about. So it can't just be about one guy. It can't just be me, right? Because, I'm not that exciting of a guy. So it's just get other people involved. So Lucas is always cracking these goofy jokes. I go, put a couple of those on. And then the superstition stuff and the other videos that are going on. It's just funny. It's just funny. It's fun to do.
Right. And I think it's just a different way to stand apart, right? Like you said, be memorable. And sometimes a majority of the time, it has zero to do with what your business is about, right? The cool part is that you kind of make it about the water cooler, because there's always that kind of fun banter and offices around the water cooler, right?
Sure.
So like that makes it fun and relevant to you. But the other stuff gets other people, engaged, and they share it, they comment, like that's what you want. And I think that's I find is so brilliant about it, right? As a marketer, that I think you've hit the nail on the head. And with the signs, I mean, I'll be scrolling Pinterest and I see stupid puns and I snap them and I send them to you. I mean, here's an idea. And maybe you used them because I don't live in Belvedere anymore, but like like to have people think of you like that, I think is another way, right, of getting in front of people that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to get in front of, and they see you in a different way. But then when they need your services, that's who they think of, right? It's just it's a creative way to get in front of people in a non-salesy, pushy way.
We are not salesy, pushy. That doesn't fit my personality. It doesn't fit the people that I work with. We don't have sales people, and that's by design. So we don't want that. We have every technician we have can sell something and they can install something, but they are not salespeople. They're technicians first and foremost. So we're there to fix it, take care of it, educate the customer, give them options. They decide. There's too much salesy things going on. So I'm not a big fan of that, me personally.
Yeah. And when I lived in Belvedere, I witnessed it firsthand, because I put in a water softener in my home and from you, and the young gentleman that came to install it, before he left, he made sure I knew exactly what the computer little thing said and how to, because I had never had to worry about that before, right? And I was a single mom, and now I had to get a water softener, and I knew sometimes you put salt in it. I get that, but it was running down, make sure I understood everything, and not in a condescending way. Like it was all education, and it was really great. And then the fact that you offer delivery service was even better, so I didn't have to worry about it. Although I did take advantage of your Saturday sales, and then, as you insisted, make my teenage son bring him downstairs to the basement, so which he did. So, but Before we get to the very end of the show, and I told you it goes super fast, but what kind of advice would you give somebody, like words of wisdom, somebody that's looking to start a business, or maybe even this is twofold, leaving a legacy of a business to their family, because that I feel like is what you're, and maybe I'm wrong, but building towards, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to somebody looking to start a business and somebody else that is looking to build a legacy for their family?
So I'll kind of tend towards the legacy part of it, because
Okay.
that's really what I want to do. Goodwater is going nowhere. My kids are 30 and 25. I'm assuming they're going to be around a long time. And the one thing that we stress, we have procedures and processes put in place. We let people then do their job without micromanaging.
Mm.
But the one thing that we want to do is we always gauge ourselves not by our industry, but by all industries. So when we talk about customer service and building value, it is not just about the water business. It's any. It doesn't matter what type of trade or what services are provided. We want to mirror what those are like. You can be a high level non for profit that does amazing work, and we want to take bits and pieces of that. You can be in the number one HVAC company in Northern Illinois. We want to take a bits and piece of that. A high level mechanic, a Cindy Rowe that's always being kind, and that's one of your tags, right? So we take a little bit of piece of that. Be kind. So we have Tuesday meetings, and it's all based on not doing mistakes multiple times. If we make a mistake, we'll move past that, but to learn from it and then to better ourselves each single week. So there's always something the next level for that. So we want to gauge ourselves, not just whatever industry you're in. It doesn't matter. So I want our ability to be transferable to any industry. That's legacy wise. That's important to me.
Yeah, that's great advice. And one of the things when I work with clients too, I ask them, like, what do you love about XYZ stuff? Like, it does not have to be your competition. It does not, like, you could be drawn to what Mr. Goodwater is doing with the video series. So how can we take that and relate it to your audience, right? Like, it doesn't even have to be, and I love that, because that's how you grow and expand, I guess, with different variables, because you're not stuck in your industry with your, shades on, or whatever this is called. I'm like, I
Blinders.
lost my
Blinders.
But yeah, great advice. We are at the end of the show, where I love to pass the torch on to you, and let you promote your business, tell them everything that's going on and how they can find you. I'll put stuff up on the screen for everybody, but floor is yours.
One of the fun things you want to take a look at Mr. Goodwater, go on our Facebook page and hit the video section. We have a ton of content on there. As we know, Facebook wants paid ads, so they're repressing algorithms. But if you want to take a look at some funny things that we've done, it's there. You want to learn about our products and services, mrgoodwater.com, our website that we have is out there. You can call our office at 544-0800. And you can ask to talk to any technician. You want to learn anything about what we've got going on, that would be great. We always run a special, a $39.95 tune-up and clean on your water treatment equipment. It's important for it to run maximum efficiency. So that's one of the things that we go out and gauge and make sure everything's working at 100%. And then we do a cleanup on it, and we can do resin treatment as well.
Great. And do you still have the Salt Saturday sale?
Every Saturday we have, I think it's a 50-cent discount on salt every Saturday. We've had it for 17 years.
Yeah.
Ever since we started.
And where can they find you again in Belvedere?
596 North Appleton Road. We're down the street from Joe Hamblock Ford. We're between there and the Belvedere Park District. And that's where we're at.
Great. Well, it was a pleasure. I
Thank
really
you, Cindy.
enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed our business friendship over the years,
So have
and
I.
it's exciting to see you continue to impress me with your mad marketing skills and your crazy commercials too. I have to tell, yeah, you got some really clever little commercials too.
And
So yes,
we partnered with some powerhouses out there too. So
do check out the Facebook videos because you will be entertained for a while. Well, Butch, thank you so much. I know you're super busy. I will let you go, but it was a wonderful conversation, and I think you gave a lot of good advice and things for people to mull over for their own business.
well, I don't know, but I just maybe.
We'll see you out on the water sometime this summer. Until then, bye everybody.
Thank you.